It's the final countdown.
I knew
The final countdown to the playoffs. Welcome back to Buzz Pucks.
I'm Clay.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm Clay.
I'm Bert.
I knew you were going to do it.
Wait, did you?
Yeah.
You read me like a
It's
book
the
on that. It's
final-
the perfect one to
I
do.
know.
You know, it's the perfect one to do. And we're here for the last week of the season. The playoffs literally start tonight.
Yes, there will be some games already played by the time this episode
Oh, yes.
drops.
Yeah. Well, obviously we'll talk about those next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here to talk about the last week of the regular season, and Clay and I get to watch the playoffs with complete impunity because neither one of our teams made the playoffs.
Woo!
Yeah, thanks, Penguins. But you know what? It's for the best.
It's also
Honestly.
we'll get to that one because
We will.
because
Maybe not. Maybe we'll just skip right past it.
going into the week there were games on the line. Teams had to do stuff. Some did, some didn't.
Some did not.
We'll get to it.
Some did not. But before we get to any and all of that, what are we drinking, Clay?
We are drinking Harpoon Brewery's Harpoon IPA. I grabbed them because they're based out of Boston. That's your
Boston.
President's Trophy winner
And record-setting team.
and
Yeah.
record-setting team in multiple records.
Yep.
So yeah, it was either this or Boston Lager. I chose this.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is fine.
Yeah, this one's an independent one.
Yeah. Take that, Sam Adams. Even though I like Sam Adams.
I
fine.
do like saying it too. Boston Brewing.
I was gonna make a Bud Light joke, but never mind. All right. Well, you're starting off this week.
All right, so
Give us the final rundown.
I'll give you the final rundown.
Oh, and we're instead of doing a top player of the week for the teams, we're gonna do one to a few top players.
Yeah.
Of the year.
Of
for
the year,
for the play,
just
for the teams.
because
Some of them are really difficult for me to have picked a top player
we are gonna do like
on specific teams.
deep dives of the team's season later on.
As we get deeper into the playoffs, we have less to talk about, less games to talk about. We'll
Right.
start our season reviews.
yeah,
you know,
basically. So, yeah,
which I believe is what we did last year. Once we got down to it,
close enough.
because I think we were getting to the point where there was like 2 games
Yep.
we had to talk about. We're like, well, I guess let's talk about the other teams
Yeah,
too.
let's do
I
that.
guess
Now that it's over,
now that it's over,
dust
yeah.
is settling.
Dust is settling. People are getting fired. But we'll
Already.
get to all of them.
I only had 2 firings, from what I saw.
I mean,
You had significant.
yeah, from multiple teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get them.
Yep.
We'll get to them.
All right, we're gonna start with Boston. They rested a bunch of guys this week.
Still one.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
They went 2-0, beating Washington 5-2, beating Montreal 5-4 in a tempered flared game.
In Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I mean, it's Montreal's last shot at them this year. So
yeah, exactly. Each goalie got a game in.
Nice.
Marchand had in the Washington game. Marchand had a goal to assist. They outshot Washington 44-27. And then against Montreal, Pastrnak had a goal and an assist there. He hit 61 goals on the season.
Very impressive.
He's actually going to be their top player for the season. And he played all 82 games. They never rested him.
Wow.
He went 61 goals, 52 assists, so that's good for 113 points.
Yeah. Damn right.
And that is a gulf between that and second
And nice,
place.
yeah.
With
Well,
points.
that happens on a lot of teams other than like Edmonton and Colorado. Is like their number one scorer is usually by far and away the number one
Yeah.
scorer on the team.
So yeah, they, like Bert mentioned, record setting. The record for wins in a season was 62. They're ending the season with 65 wins, 12 losses,
Jeez,
5 overtime
man.
losses, which also breaks Montreal's points record of 132 with 135. So this is the best
Yeah.
season any team has ever had, ever.
So they'll definitely lose in the first round.
I
I can't see it, but
can't see it.
I can't. But if you had asked me, will Columbus sweep Tampa Bay in the first round after they won 62 games. I would have said no way.
Well, and not even just sweep.
I know we've mentioned this a few times now, but
So, 3 periods, 12 periods of hockey in those 4 games.
Yeah.
They outplayed Tampa for 11 of those 12 periods.
Yep.
After the first period, it was
Over.
game over.
Yeah, it was over. Yeah, but hey, we'll get to our playoff predictions at the end.
All right.
Mister
Next up is Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Going into this week, they needed to win 4 out of 4 games,
Yeah, they really needed to.
and a couple of other teams needed to drop. Unfortunately, going 4 for 4 was a bridge too far. They went 3-1.
Yeah, it was close. 1 point out of the playoffs.
1 point. First team out. They basically already dropped a teaser video for the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
It's a cool video too. I'm already hyped. I did live in Buffalo for just a brief second. They are my second team.
Yeah, that's
Just
fine.
I just love this team.
I like underdogs.
I love
so.
that city. I love this team. I'm really excited for it next year. They're looking good. Now,
Fingers crossed they stay looking that way.
they started their week by beating the Rangers in a shootout win, so very close.
They did.
Devin Levi, top player in that game, making the saves needed. Then this is their loss, and they lost to New Jersey, lost 2-6.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yep, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's their season. Then they went on to play Ottawa at home. Craig Anderson in net for his final home game. He was given a standing ovation by
Against Ottawa, too.
Yes, and that's why they put him against Ottawa. He spent 10 years there.
Yeah.
He is their record wins holder.
Yeah, he was very, very good.
Yes,
for
he
them.
was great there.
Yeah.
So he gets their top player as well, winning overtime with the Goat Heads. They were they wore the Goat Heads for 12 games. They were 10-1-1.
It's a pretty good record.
Yeah, the Black Goat Heads.
That's a
10-1-1.
pretty good record. Lucky jerseys, baby, for the most part. Lucky.
Yep. Then they finished the season by beating Columbus 5-2.
Right.
Casey Middlestat had a goal and assist. He was actually on a tear this last season. Last week, I believe he had like 4 goals, 2 assists in those 4 games.
Pretty dang good.
Levi was in net again, so they're basically saying it's like you're the starting goalie.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
This is your net to lose, and he's playing great.
Playing like it.
Yeah. So one not so good game against the Devils out of his 10 or so starts so far.
That's pretty good for a young goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um
One bad game out of 10
Yeah.
or so. Not bad.
that's looking very
Not bad
good
at all.
because
That's not bad for like a veteran goalie.
yeah, and their goal front presence was, or not goal front presence, their guy in front of the net. That was their question for next year. So it looks like they've already
Penciled that in.
penciled that in.
Yeah.
All right, so they were 42, 33, and 7. That was good for 91 points.
Yeah.
That's 5th in the division, and it is,
Hey, 2 points, I thought. I thought they ended with the same amount of points as the Penguins.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
pretty-
92.
I thought it was 91.
Mm-mm.
Really? Either way. They ended up with the same amount of points as the Penguins. Penguins have that tiebreaker. They are
Maybe I'm
20th.
wrong. I could be wrong.
They were 20th out of 32 in the final
Yeah.
overall standings.
Yeah.
Next up is Detroit.
No, I apologize. I was wrong. It was
Ha-ha.
91 points.
Detroit did the same thing as they did last year. Started the season off strong, then
And then just
fell
cratered.
off. 0 for 3 to finish the week. They are 35, 37, and 10. That's 80 points. That's 7th in the division, 25th overall. Ended up with more points than they did last year,
Positive.
which
Right.
is kind of amazing considering the cratering they did.
Yeah, they really
after the
fell
deadline.
apart after the deadline.
And
or leading up, like the week before the deadline to
Yes.
the end of the season.
Yeah.
They just like fell apart. Because
Um,
they were within striking distance of a
They
wild
were.
card spot.
and then they
just-
lost 3
They
straight.
got like smashed by Ottawa.
Ottawa. Yeah, they lost.
And then they were just like, nah.
Now we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up with 6 more points than they did last year. I still think the future's bright for Detroit, but
Yeah.
I understand why.
They just
It's
got to
a
put
little-
it together. They
yeah.
just got to have a full season.
Ooh, gotta go back to Buffalo
Sure.
real quick. Their top player
Oh, right.
is Tage Thompson.
Of course.
He played 78 games this season. He was 47 goals, 47 assists, which is 94 points.
94 points.
All right, back to Detroit. They lost 1-6 to Dallas. Huso started, did not last long, going 2 for 5 on saves. Hellebuck still didn't do much better. He let in 3 goals as well.
No.
Again, their defense isn't playing great.
Yeah.
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 Then they lost to Carolina, Nedeljkovic in net. And then finishing off the year by getting shut out by Tampa Bay. Huso getting killed.
Yeah. It's a fitting end.
Yeah, right. Their top player for the year, because they don't have one this week, is Dylan Larkin.
Captain.
80 games played, 32 goals, 47 assists, which is good for 79 points on the year. Florida's up next, 0-1-1 on the 2 games. Alex Lyon is still in net. Now they did play both Toronto and Carolina, so that record's
True.
fine.
They're so lucky.
They limped into
Yeah.
the playoffs.
They got very lucky that a team below them had the exact same record.
Yeah.
So
42, 32, and 8 on the season. That's 92 points. That's why they're in the playoffs.
Yep.
4th in the division, and then that's 17th overall.
Yep.
That overtime loss to Toronto, Lyon kept him in it. Brandon Montour had the lone goal in the game. They outshot Toronto 46-25, and then Carolina they lost 4-6, and I believe thinking of a different Carolina game. And yeah, that's really all I got to say. For their top player, it is Matt Tkachuk. 79 games played, 40 goals, 69 assists. That's good for 104 points. He stayed hot compared to his last year.
Did you say 40 goals, 69 assists? Or was it 64 assists?
69 is 109 points.
Yeah, okay. That's why I was like, that's not how that math works.
That's not how math works. Yeah, I knew he was putting up points. He still kind of quietly had a 40-goal season.
Yeah, there was a lot. What was it? 11 100-point scorers this year,
Yes.
and then a handful of other guys that were over 90.
Right.
So like, I don't know. I think everybody just kind of got lost in the sauce about McDavid, and so they kind of just like didn't really pay attention to everyone else that was also having a tremendous year. And Pasternak too. People were talking about Pasternak, but
when it comes to Florida, someone got lost in the sauce when it came to how Tkachuk was doing. Carter Verhaeghe, he quietly had a 42-goal season.
oh wow,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there was a few of those where I was looking at my team stats and I was like, he had 40 goals.
Right.
I'm like, oh.
All right, so that's my crappy handwriting. And
Florida.
Montreal's next. When it comes to a top player,
Oh, Montreal.
when it comes to a top player in this team, points-wise, this one's rough.
I might have one that beats you.
I don't.
I want to hear it though.
All
I
right.
want to hear yours though.
So they were 0-2 on the week.
Mm-hmm.
31, 45, and 6 on the season. That's 68 points. That's 8th in their division.
I'm actually surprised they had 31 wins.
Yeah.
Honestly.
28th overall
Yeah.
at
They're down there.
32. Losing to the Islanders 2-4. Montembeault in net. 3 for 3 adjusted on the penalty kill.
Hey, all right.
And then losing in a close game to Boston 4-5. Montembeault in net again as well. 7 for 6 adjusted on the penalty kill.
Hey,
So that is
nice.
2 shorthanded goals this week.
Hey, look at them.
Um,
It's a silver lining.
Pizzetta had a goal and an assist in the Boston game. They were outshot by the Islanders 19-35.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. So when The Islanders aren't a bad team, but they are more
No,
a defensive
no,
team.
yeah.
So when they are shelling you,
There's a problem.
There's a
problem
problem.
in your scheming.
a lot of this season is kind of a wash for Montreal.
Yeah.
They were the most injured team.
Well, I don't think anybody was really expecting anything from Montreal.
No, but they were the most injured
Oh, yeah,
team.
but they were riddled with injuries on top of that. Actually, with all the injuries they have, 31 wins, that's kind of respectable.
Honestly,
Because they lost, like, so many of their top. I think Suzuki was the only player, one of their top, that played most of the season.
here it is. Suzuki is the only player on that team that played all 82 games.
That's impressive in and of itself.
He had 26 goals, 40 assists, 66 points. That's their top player.
Okay, yeah, I definitely have one that beats you.
All right. Their third top player.
Mm-hmm. That's Carey Price somehow.
No, it's okay. So I'm going to actually give their top three players because
Okay.
at number 1 is 66
Mm-hmm.
points. Number 2, Kirby Dach, has 14 goals, 24 assists. That's 38 points in 58 games.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I have one team who their top player only beat Kirby Dach's mark by 2 points.
Mm.
That was their.
Columbus.
It's not.
No, because Gaudreau had a pretty good season.
It's not Columbus.
Oh, man. That's bad. It's
Yeah.
Washington, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
No. Ovechkin had like 40 goals this year.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Okay.
No.
I
It's
have
one
no
of the
idea.
bottom feeder teams. Now,
Okay.
technically speaking, there were 2 players that did have more points, but they got traded.
Oh, it's
so
fucking
I am
Chicago.
not counting them. It is Chicago. Oh, it's fucking Chicago.
Oh, it's fucking
Yeah.
Chicago. Their third top player is Cole Caulfield.
He was injured for like 70% of the season.
36 points.
Oh, man. That kid's
Point-
good.
26, 10, 26
He had
goals
26 goals?
and 10 assists in 46 games. He's been out since January.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's okay, not 70% of the year, but
He's been out
almost
since
half the season.
he's been out
yeah.
since January.
Wow, he had 26 goals.
Yeah, he
Wow.
did.
He was on
He was
pace for a
good, yeah.
really good
No,
mark.
he is-
yeah.
yeah, he's a
That
good-
is very unfortunate.
Yeah, I
well,
know,
hopefully he is not 100% healthy. I don't remember what his injury was, but
Shoulder. It was a separate shoulder.
hopefully he is 100% ready for
He
next season.
already had the surgery back in January, so he should be good to go. But yeah, like their top 5 players points wise, you got Suzuki with 82 games played, Dach with 58 games played, Caulfield with 46,
and then a bunch of other motherfuckers.
Hoffman with 67, and then Matheson with 48 games played. Look at like
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot
There's
Matheson was hurt
so
for like
many
half the season.
injuries.
Too. Yeah.
half the team was hurt for half the season.
Some guy named Harvey Pinard
He's still
scored like 15 goals for them.
he still only played like 30 some
I
games.
know.
Because he might have gotten hurt too. All right,
It's pretty much a lost season for Montreal.
I
But
thi-
hey, maybe they'll get that number 1 pick.
maybe. All right, now that's enough of
Or the top 3 or 4.
Montreal. Moving on to Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Ottawa 1-0-1 on the
Won a game.
week. Beat Carolina
That's
3-2
impressive, yeah.
to start their week with Sogard in net. Was it Carolina?
Here, I can check.
No, I'm thinking of Pavelski's 1,000th.
No, yeah.
Um,
no, it was,
I'm-
it was
I'm-
against Carolina.
I'm thinking of Pavelski's 1,000th, which was against Winnipeg.
Oh.
Claude Giroux scored his 1,000th point the same night as Pavelski got his 1,000th.
Oh,
Um,
gotcha.
Giroux had 2 goals and assists that game. He's hit 1,000 points.
Good for him.
And then they lost to Buffalo in overtime, like I said earlier.
Great.
39, 35, and 8 on the season. That's 86 points. Unfortunately, injuries derailed the season at the end.
Well, injuries and guys maybe not playing up to the way they should.
Yes, that.
Brinket.
I mean, that's more the entire season.
Yeah.
Talbot.
Yeah.
Um,
They already said Cam Talbot's not going to be back.
yeah, I was
next
going to
year.
say that, yeah. Because Cam Talbot's not coming back next year. They want 1 year, he wants 2.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from their perspective. They could be like, you were injured so much this year.
And then when you came back, you did
You
not
weren't
play well.
very good.
They're 21st overall.
Yeah,
So I mean, they can get a little jump in that.
sure.
Um,
So
that lottery.
21st, what is that, 12th? They
Yeah.
could move up to 2.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's pretty good. I mean,
Um,
not Bedard, but there's other really good, supposedly very good
Right.
prospects.
I think top 5, you're getting a really good guy.
Yeah.
Ottawa's top player is Stützle. 39 goals,
Oh, so close to 40.
51 assists. That's 90 points.
Very good season for
Great
Stützle.
season. 78 games.
He really came into his own this year.
Yes,
so
he did.
that's
He-
got to
he
feel
stepped
good
up.
for Ottawa moving forward.
Brady Tkachuk was second in the points game, and then Giroux was third.
I mean, yeah, this is a disappointing season for Ottawa.
Old man Giroux.
Old man Giroux. This is. I don't know if anybody really had them pegged for a playoff spot, but they weren't that far off. They were only 7 points back of having a playoff
No,
spot.
a lot of people had them pegged because remember they were off season.
Oh, they were the offseason champions.
Yes.
Just like the Cleveland Browns every year,
All
except last year
right, moving on to Tampa Bay.
and this year. Tampa Bay.
1-1.
Okay.
40. They stopped that losing streak.
Thank God.
46, 30, and 6. 98 points. Third on the season. 13th third on the division. 13th overall in the season. They started their week by losing to Toronto in a very close game. Preview for their
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
series, and they played like it. That got feisty.
Oh,
They
sure
were-
we'll see many more fireworks.
This was basically game 1 of the series.
Yeah.
And they treated it like it.
Yeah.
Um,
Still lost though.
they lost and they outshot Toronto 48-24.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What was the score of that game?
3-4.
Oh,
Vasilevsky was 20 for 24.
that's very un-Vasilevsky of him.
He's been a little mortal this year.
Well, he's getting older, you know.
Um,
Still good. He's still good. Let's make that clear.
Then they shut out Detroit, like I mentioned.
Yep.
Elliott got the shutout in that game. Point had a goal and an assist.
Shameful.
Shameful.
Ottawa.
Exactly.
Or I'm sorry, Detroit.
Kucherov is their top player with points. He played all 82 games this season. 30, 83 for 113 points.
God damn.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Looking at their top
Mhm.
point skaters, 82, 82, 81, 81, 82.
They're fairly healthy this year.
They were
Yeah.
very healthy this year, which leads to them dropping off to be a little concerning.
Yeah, a little bit. Here's the thing with Tampa Bay though. They have made 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. At some point, you got to be exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
They're still impossible to count out, but yes, they have to be
They got to
exhausted.
be exhausted at this point. And yes, we know they have a whole off season to rest and whatever, but that's rest in quotation marks.
And also, their off-season is a lot shorter
Yeah.
when you go for these long runs.
Yes. So, I'm not surprised that they maybe took a step back
Yeah.
finally.
Um,
Still a dangerous team.
Oh, no one-
Let's make that very clear.
no one should count them out. I'll tell you my feelings about them when we talk about playoffs.
Yes.
Toronto 3-0 to finish the year.
Finishing strong.
50 wins, 21 losses, 11 overtime losses for 111 points. Second in the division, 4th overall in the standings.
Yeah.
Beating Florida in overtime, like I mentioned. Then Tampa Bay 4-3, and then finishing the season against the Rangers 3-2. Samsonov in net against Florida. They were outshot by Florida 46-25 in that game.
Still got the win though.
So Samsonov stood on his head. Got a 9.78 save percentage
I hope
there.
you guys can hear my dog savaging a blanket.
I forgot to do math. 2 for 8. Then they had Wall in net for the last 2 games of the season, and he did pretty well. Nylander had a goal to assist against Tampa Bay, and then Noel Acari had the game-winning goal against the Rangers.
Nice.
Their top player on the season is Mitch Marner. He had 30 goals, 69 assists for 99 points.
So close.
One
to 100
away.
Points.
80 games played.
Pretty good.
Don't rest him.
No. No, he gets that 100 points.
Don't rest him. He gets 100.
Yeah.
So
What did Matthews do this year?
he went in 74 games played. He went 40-45 for 85 points.
Oh, yeah, that's still
so Matthews
really
had
good
a
year, too.
down year.
Yeah, but still really good year.
He had a down year, and he's put in 40 goals. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's the reason I ask is I've seen a couple of talking heads, and you know how talking heads are, but they're like, oh yeah, kind of a down year. Like he scored 40 goals.
No,
like,
I mean,
cut that guy some slack.
In his
Jesus.
standards, he did have
I mean,
a down
yes,
year.
he scored 60 last year.
But
yeah,
he was dealing with
he had some
wrist
like
and
some injuries
hip,
throughout this
something.
year.
Yeah, no, he's been dealing with
Yeah,
like wrist and
injuries.
back injuries. So like,
Honestly, 40 goals is amazing. So,
Oh.
yeah.
that's excellent.
But you know what? You guys are right. You should trade him to the Penguins.
Yep.
Just let him go
No, he's going home. If anything,
to Arizona.
no, to San Jose.
He's not from San Jose. He's from Arizona. Oh man, is that it for the Atlantic?
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep. I got no news.
Okay. All right. Well, let's flip the conferences. Let's go to the Central Division. We're starting off with the Arizona Coyotes.
Ow.
Oh, 1-1 this week.
Hey.
Losing to Seattle 4-1, where they were outshot 37-23. And then they lost to Vancouver in overtime to finish off their season 5-4.
Yep.
2 for 4 on the PK in that game. Liam O'Brien had 2 goals. Nick Schmaltz had a goal and an assist. While I don't know his first name, but his last name is Kesselring, had 2 assists in that game. I believe he's a defenseman.
Yep.
Arizona finished the season 28, 40, and 14,
Wow.
which is not last. I didn't note down where they were in the overall standings, but that was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Pretty bad. But you know what? Everybody thought that's what Arizona was going to do this year. However, I think nobody thought that Clayton Keller was going to have 37 goals and 49 assists this
He
year.
went
86 points this
Isn't
year
that-
for Clayton Keller.
Isn't that the record for a player on just the Coyotes?
Maybe. They've never really had any big time goals. They had Shane Doan, but he never really scored that much.
No.
This is a huge season for Keller.
Yep.
This is his best career year.
Yep.
And hopefully a good feeling for Arizona to be like, oh, finally,
Here we go.
this kid is here now. Maybe they rushed him to the league. Maybe it just took him a little while to get to that level. But 86 points on a very bad team
Yeah.
is amazing. And he was by far their top scorer. He might have almost doubled whatever anybody else had
Yeah, I
on the
think
team.
so.
But yeah, that's it for Arizona. So they got their fingers crossed for the draft lottery, I guess.
Some of those
Connor Bedard would look pretty good playing with Clayton Keller. Just saying.
cap floor contracts are going to start coming off books.
That's also true. Yeah.
So maybe this is the time to start spending some money.
If they could just get their goddamn arena figured out, they might have a bright future.
Yeah, right?
You know? Oh boy, let's talk about Chicago next.
Boo.
1-1 this week.
Okay.
They lost to Minnesota 4-2. They outshot Minnesota 42-22.
What?
Yeah. They beat Pittsburgh 5-2, where they were outshot 40-27. Robinson had a goal and an assist, while Bjork had 2 assists.
York.
And then they lost to Philadelphia to finish off the week 5-4. Anthony Ziu had 2 assists in that
Gotcha.
game. They finished off the season 26, 49, and 7. Really quite a bad season. So that
I'm
is
looking
59 points
At your paper,
for
read
this.
your
Yeah.
top player.
Andre Athanasiou is their
Jesus
top player
Christ.
with 20 goals and 20 assists.
Boo.
Now, to be fair, both Max Domi and Patrick Kane both had more points than him, but they got traded, so I'm not counting them.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think they each had like 42 and 45 points or
Okay.
something, but they were traded, so I'm not counting them.
but also, they still only had 42
they did not have that
or
much
45
more. They did not
points.
have that much
Yeah.
more than
Ugh.
FSU. So,
Ugh.
yeah, really bad
Ugh.
season for Chicago.
Remember when they thought
Really
they were going to
bad.
be good?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago at this point, but
That was last year. That's
where
my fault.
oh
That's
yeah,
my
no,
fault.
you're right. Where they traded for Seth Jones and gave
Yeah.
him that ridiculous
Yeah.
contract, and then they were like, "Oops, we're bad."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my fault. That's my fault.
Yeah,
It all bleeds together at this point.
Yeah, I don't think I wrote this down in the news, but Chicago also announced that their game against Philly was Jonathan Tay's last game with
Yes.
Chicago. Now, that either means he is going to retire or sign elsewhere. They are not going to re-sign him.
And Taves scored.
He did. So we'll see what happens with Jonathan Tays, if he decides to retire or moves to another team.
I mean, he's
don't know.
played like what? That was his first game on the season?
No,
How many,
no.
like,
It was
games
his
did he
first
play?
game. He had long COVID
Right.
or whatever, and he tried to come back a couple of times, and then
It didn't work.
It
Yeah.
just didn't work, and so he went back into injured. So I don't know. We'll see. He might just opt to retire.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll go to Colorado and play with
don't-
his brother. I don't know.
see anybody taking him, though.
Maybe cheap. Maybe if he can prove that he's healthy.
Yeah,
And if he
vet
takes a
min.
vet min or like $1 million or something, then yeah, I could see somebody signing him. But if I was a team, I'd be like, you have to prove that you can play,
Right.
you know, because otherwise I would just be like, for your own health, you should just retire.
Well, it's also like you're just taking up a spot for another kid
yeah,
that
yeah,
could.
yeah, and I also don't know if he makes the Hall of Fame. He's never had like dazzling numbers.
No, I mean,
You know, but you know, it is Canadian Sports Raiders, so he'll probably make the Hall of Fame. Let's move on to Colorado, though. Chicago, bad season. But I think everybody expected a bad season out of
Yeah.
Chicago. Colorado, they had a sluggish start to their season,
but they came
but they finished
rocking
strong in the second half of the year. 2-0-1 in their final week, losing to Edmonton in overtime, 2-1, very close game.
Mm-hmm.
They were outshot by Edmonton 40-29. They then beat Winnipeg 4-2, where Evan Rodriguez and Arturi Lehkonen each had a goal and an assist.
Yep.
And then Lars Eller had 2 assists for Colorado.
Wow.
And then they beat Nashville to finish off the season 4-3. McKinnon, jeez, oh man, 3 goals and an assist.
Yep.
And Rantanen and the other Tays, Devin Tays, each had 2 points in that game. Colorado finishes the season atop the Central Division at 51, 24, and 7.
Yep. They surged back.
They surged right back. They look like world beaters again.
They were the only one who won the division.
Yeah, apparently. And most of that has to do with Nathan McKinnon scoring 42 goals and 69 assists on the season, and Mikko Rantanen scoring 55 goals and 50 assists on the season.
Did you see he broke the goal scoring record for
Colorado.
Yeah, he broke Sakic's
go.
record.
Suck it, Sakic. And I imagine if McKinnon plays his entire career there, I imagine all of Sakic's records will probably
We'll
go
start
away.
falling, yeah.
Sakic, tremendous player in his own rights, but McKinnon.
Seems like a good GM.
McKinnon. Oh yeah, that's true. He is their GM. So honestly, if you're him, he's probably ecstatic.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, no, break my records, please. Yeah. All right, but yeah, that's Colorado. Little shout out to Georgiev too. I'm not going to list his numbers,
Big
but
shout out to Georgia.
he played 62 games this year
I
for
believe he
Colorado.
won 40 games.
Yeah, he did. He won 40 games. I didn't write down all of his numbers, but I just wanted to give him a shout out because he played 62 of a possible 82 games.
Right.
Very impressive for a goalie. Workhorse. They got themselves a workhorse.
Workhorse with 40 wins. That's good. You can
Yeah.
be a workhorse and suck.
That is also true. Yeah. Let's move on to Dallas, who also had a strong end to their season, going 3-0, beating Detroit 6-1. Rope Hintz had a goal and 3 assists. Robertson a goal and 2 assists, and Heiskanen 2 assists. They then beat St. Louis 5-2, outshot St. Louis 37-18. Robertson, had 3 assists in that game. Ben 2 assists, and Kent Johnston
Ooh.
had 2 goals. He's a young player on Dallas.
Gotcha.
And then they finished off the year by shutting out St. Louis 1-0.
Ooh.
1-0. Ottinger got that shutout. Robertson is their top player by a country mile
Yeah.
skater
Offensive play.
wise.
Yeah.
46 goals, 63 assists, breaking all of their records.
Yep.
So good on him. And Ottinger, got to give him a shout out too. 37, 11, and 11 with 5 shutouts, 237 goals against, 919 save percentage. That's pretty
great.
good. That's really good.
It's going to be really good.
Not the best numbers I have written down, but pretty damn good.
Still good going into the playoffs.
Oh, yes. He is what they thought they were hoping for.
Yes.
In the playoffs last year.
Well,
he played so well.
I mean, we kind of saw flashes of that last year, and then he showed up in the playoffs. And
then he was a monster in the playoffs. They did lose, but...
And he just didn't go away.
Yeah, and then he just kept it up.
Yep.
I was afraid that he wouldn't keep it up.
It's the same with McDavid last year.
Yeah. So, good on him. Good on both of them. Those were the two players last year. Those are the 2 kids. So, and in a couple years... Dallas is in great position, I
They
think.
signed them cheap, long term.
Not super long term. You got to remember, both of them kind of, it's like a 3 or 4
Bridges
year deal.
deals,
Yeah,
yes.
bridge-esque deals.
Sorry, I remember the Robertson deal. That goes up until
Ben and Sagan are off, and then they can pay Robertson the big bucks. That's probably what they told him.
And Radulov too.
Radulov as well. Yeah, all of their old guard are off the books, and I think it's 2 years, maybe 3. I think it's 2 though.
2 for most of them. 1 goes off the 3rd.
Yeah. So that I think it's a 2-year deal that Robertson has, and so when that's done, they can give him $10+ million.
Yes.
So, which I'm sure he'll be like, okay, money now, please. I mean, he's still getting 6 or something.
Money,
but,
please.
Boy, I wish I could just be like, you know what? You should pay me $10 million. All right, let's move on to Minnesota.
I'll take the Vetman.
I would take the Vetman too, honestly. I would be like, oh, I'm in the lap of luxury now, making the Vetman. Any teams out there? I cannot skate. I'll be a scout for way less than that. Minnesota finished off their year. Oh, I'm sorry, Dallas. Their final record: 47, 21, and 14.
It's a good record.
Real good year for Dallas. Minnesota's up next, going 1, 1, and 1 to finish off their year, beating Chicago 4-2. Johansson, depending on what year it is, scored 2 goals and an assist in that game. Matthew Boldy, a goal and an assist, while Gustafsson had 40 of 42 saves in that game.
I like that Johansson's second time around Minnesota's going
Working
a lot better.
A lot better this time around. Yeah, a lot better. They then lost to Winnipeg 3-1. Pretty much helping Winnipeg save their season.
Yep.
And then they lost to Nashville 4-3 in overtime, where Freddie Gaudreau that is, had 2 goals, and Gustav Nyquist had 2 assists. Now, their top player is Kirill Kaprizov. His numbers aren't tremendous, 40 goals, 35 assists, but he was hurt for several weeks.
He's been out since, what, mid-February?
I mean, he's back now.
Oh,
he's back now.
He
was
just
came back last week or
right,
something.
Okay.
So, still pretty good. 40 goals, not bad at all. But you got to give it to Gustafsson. 37, 22, and 7. 210 goals against. 931 save percentage.
Yep.
And 3 shutouts.
That's why he starts the series.
He's the starting goaltender moving forward. I love Marc-Andre Fleury. Gustafsson outplayed him.
And here's the thing. Fleury played great.
Played fine. Fleury played great.
Fleury played great. It was dueling goalies.
Gustafsson, so many games recently, Minnesota gave up tons of shots, and Gustafsson saved most of them.
Yeah.
So you got to give it to him. He's a young goalie. He's their goalie of the future.
I mean,
he's their goalie of now and into the future.
It's one of those things where I was just kicking themselves for going with Talbot and.
You know who else is kicking themselves? Pittsburgh, because they drafted Gustafsson. And Marc-Andre Fleury. And they just have Tristan fucking Jarry. My back is hurt. Anyway, let's talk about Nashville.
He's hurt.
Stupid. Nashville. Nashville.
It's management's fault for playing him when he was hurt.
Well, that's why they all got fired.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Nashville went 2-1 this year.
Hey, you won your Stanley Cup.
That's true. I'm sorry. Minnesota went 46, 25, and 11 to finish off the season. Nashville is up next, going 2-1 this week, beating Calgary 3-2 in a shutout. I think effectively ended Calgary's season.
So that game right there was the season for both teams.
Yeah, it was.
It was winner go home, and Nashville won.
And Nashville won, but still had to go home because of later in the week.
Yes.
But they were outshot by Calgary 44-29.
31 game losses for Calgary.
Jesus Christ, Calgary. UC Saros 42 of 44 in the game.
Yep.
Beat Minnesota 4-3 in overtime, where Parsonen had the overtime game winner
Yes.
and an assist. And then they lost to Colorado, as I already mentioned, 4-3. Kiefer Sherwood. Did you know he was on Nashville? Because I had forgotten.
I know who Kiefer Sherwood is.
He was on the Islanders for a long time. He was like a young in-betweener kind of guy
okay.
between the minors and pros. He had 2 goals in that game.
Did you have Dylan Ferguson? This
I hate him.
I know, but he played for the Sharks last year and actually had game time.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't know that at all. UC Saros is Nashville's unequivocal top player. Now, these
Yes.
numbers aren't really good. He was 33 and 23, but you got to remember what was in front of him. 269 goals against, 919 save percentage with 2 shutouts.
Yeah, no, he's the
There was no scorer on Nashville that even came close to being better than that. So,
if Allmark wasn't on the record-breaking team, this would be Saros' Vezina.
I think
Guaranteed.
so. Yeah, even with those numbers not being great, but
Guaranteed his Vezina.
I mean, I take that back. His numbers are still good.
This still might be his Vezina. He's still in the conversation for Vezina.
Yeah, I could see some people being like, well, I mean, Allmark was on Boston. Like, how many of those wins are just because the defense and everything else Boston has
Right.
is really good, And I will say, before we finish off the Central, there's so many times that, now this year, obviously, Connor McDavid should win the Hart Trophy.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no question about that.
Yeah.
But there's been so many times where people have been like, yeah, I didn't vote for that guy for Hart because I didn't think his team was just really good. I'm like, what are you talking about?
If he's like the best player in a good team, that means you should vote for him.
Yeah.
Like-
and that specifically happened, I believe, to Claude Giroux several years ago, where he had over 100 points for Philly. He was in the top 3 of scoring, and he wasn't even one of the nominees for the Hart Trophy.
That's stupid.
And I remember I have a very close friend who's a Flyers fan, and I was like, clearly he's gonna at least be up for the Hart, and they announced who was up for the Hart, and it might have been the year Taylor Hall won it,
Oh,
which was also really stupid,
weird, yeah.
stupid and weird. But I remember after they announced who was up for it, my buddy texted me and was like, "What is this? What is this bullshit?"
Right.
And I was like, "I don't know. That's a horrible call on their hands."
I understand Taylor Hall getting nominated that year because he
he dragged the Devils,
kicking and screaming
into
That's
the
what I was-
playoffs and then to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that. He did drag
Yeah.
them kicking and screaming.
But he only had 93 points.
Right.
And there were other players that had way more points than that. And the points shouldn't be the be all end all.
That was 2012.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
had to be 2012.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I was just like, I can't believe Giroux wasn't
Right.
even in the nominations, but whatever. St. Louis is up next, going 0-2 to
Yep.
finish off the year. Oh, I keep forgetting to say the overall records. Nashville was 42, 32, and 8. So finishing over 500.
They had a decent amount of points. Shoot.
Nashville?
Yeah.
They had that's 84, 92 points.
Yeah, 92 points.
92
but
points.
it just wasn't
They were close. They're just not enough.
good enough for the East, not enough for the West.
Not enough for the West. St. Louis, not good enough for either one.
Nope.
Going 0-2 this week, losing both games to Dallas. 5-2 was the first one, where Robert Thomas had a goal and an assist, and then they got shut out 1-0 in the last game of their season. Pretty much the embodiment of St. Louis's season.
Yeah.
37, 39, and 7. Pretty booty year for St. Louis. But
Yes.
Jordan Kyrou had a good year. 37 goals, 36 assists.
Yeah.
Silver lining.
He's the young kid. He should be.
He's young. Him and Thomas and Buchnevich all looked pretty good this year.
Some of the trades that they
they've-
made were pretty good.
Yeah. They got some good draft capital.
And also,
They got some guys off the books.
Sammy Blake came in looking really good.
Sammy Blay all of a sudden remembered how to score.
Yep.
when
And
he
then
got back
who
to
else
St.
did
Louis.
they bring in that was
Oh,
good?
Kasperi Kapanen,
That's it,
who
yeah.
just was like, oh, I should play hockey.
Right.
fucker. Uh, Winnipeg is the last one in the Central and the last team in the West to make the playoffs at the second wild card. Or second wild card?
Second wild card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Vegas finished ahead of Colorado in points.
Yeah.
Because Colorado,
Well,
Colorado had.
Because I also know Seattle has the first wild card. They locked up
Sorry.
They locked up first wild card, like a week or two before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Winnipeg going 2-1 this week. They beat San Jose to begin the week 6-2. Morrissey had a goal and 2 assists, and 5 other players had 2 points in that game.
Wow.
They then beat Minnesota 3-1, where Hellebuck was 33 of 34, and then they lost to Colorado 4-2.
Yeah, but they made the playoffs already.
They had already made the playoffs
So-
at that point, so whatever, you know. Yeah, they have actually a handful of top players that I wanted to mention. Morrissey, specifically. No one expected him to have this season.
No, they did
16 goals, 60 assists, and he's a defenseman.
Yep.
Nobody thought that Josh Morrissey was going to have that season.
No, not
Now,
at all.
he's not going to be up for the Norris or anything like that, but this was a season out of nowhere for Josh.
You know who
Josh
else? I
Morrissey.
forgot to mention this during the East. You know who else also had that season?
What?
Brandon Montour.
Oh, yeah, he did. Didn't he have 20 goals?
No, he
No?
only had 16 goals. Where the frick is Florida? 16 goals, 57 assists.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
that's out of nowhere. So, I mean, to be fair, scoring was up this year.
Yes.
Which is more fun to watch,
Yes.
honestly. I will say a tightly contested defensive game is also very fun to watch.
Yes, it's on the. You're on the edge of your seat.
Oh,
Who's
yeah,
gonna break
the
it?
entire time.
Oh.
Yeah, you're just like, oh my god, someone score.
Oh, the goalie. Oh, he made a save.
Look, it's on the goal line. Oh, I didn't score. Anyway,
This is how playoffs is for us.
that's what it's gonna be. Yeah, starting tonight. But it'll be all in fun for us because it won't be the Penguins or Washington. So yeah, Josh Morrissey, 16 goals, 60 assists, really good season. But I have to mention Kyle Connor as well, 31 goals, 49 assists.
He had a down year for him.
He did, but still a good year.
Still a good year.
Hellebuck, on the other hand, 37, 25, and 2. 249 goals against, 920 save percentage, and 4 shutouts.
He's why they're in
Really
the
good
playoffs.
year. He is the only reason. And I will give, since you mentioned guys just randomly having a 40 goal season,
Scheifele.
Scheifele had 42 goals, I think, this year as well.
just quietly. Just...
Wait, that like nobody has mentioned.
Nope, not at all.
I think mostly because people hate Mark Scheifele. So.
Yeah, that's part of it.
But that's it for the Central.
All right.
I'll save all of my news for the end because I
Okay.
have some like overarching news.
Yeah. Anaheim is up first for the Pacific. They finished the season how they started, going 0-2.
They are who we thought they were.
But they did not get let off the hook. 23, 47, and 12 on the
The
season.
last place team in the NHL.
58 points, 8th in division. Bert said it. They're the last place
Ooh.
team
They only beat Chicago out by 1 point.
by 1 point.
Really makes you think, Chicago, maybe you should have just lost that game to Pittsburgh. I'm just saying.
They still lost to Columbus. Doesn't matter.
Shut up. And you know what, Columbus? Maybe you should have just lost that game to Pittsburgh. I'm just saying.
It's
Because they're like third worst.
it's
so,
like we say. Players and coaches, they don't tank.
yeah.
Upper management
That's
does.
true. Yeah, that's motherfuckers.
Vancouver. They lost the first game to Vancouver 2-3. Dostal and net. And then
I'm hearing Vancouver had a good week, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like it. And then they lost to the Kings with Gibson back in net there in 2 games. Anaheim was 8 for 12 on the penalty kill.
It's so bad. First of all, how'd you take 12 penalties in 2 games? What are you guys doing?
I don't know what they did.
They're throwing at the end of this year. They're just like, whatever. Yeah, no, go hook that guy. Whatever, who cares?
8 it's against the Kings. You're getting 8 penalties against the Kings.
Oh my god. Jesus.
8 for 12. Their top player is Trevor Zegras,
Yeah, makes sense.
81 points. 81 games played,
Oh, okay.
23, 42, and for
He only
65.
scored 23 goals.
He's not a big
Huh.
goal scorer. He's a more assist guy. Um,
Well, what was that final line? 23 and what?
42.
42, so 65 points.
Yeah.
That's not as bad as Anaheim is. That's fairly respectable. And he's a young guy too.
Yeah.
He's like 22 or something.
He's
so
21.
21.
Yeah. Terry had 61 points in
Hey.
70 games.
Good boy. Good
Yeah.
boy, Troy.
Yeah, so if he had more points or more games played, he probably would have
Yeah.
had more points.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Next up is Calgary going 1-0-1. Bert said it. To start, all they had to do was
Beat
win
Nashville.
out,
Yeah.
and they lost to Nashville in the first game,
Yep.
and that ended their season.
Yeah.
Lost in a shootout. Markstrom was in net. He played well, going 27 for 29,
Yeah.
9-3-1. It just didn't happen.
Didn't matter.
They, same old with Calgary. They outshot the opponent by at least 10. They still lost by 1. That's record.
Unbelievable how many times that happened this
It's
year.
like at least 25
Unbelievable.
with outshooting by 10 but still losing.
It's crazy.
Minimum 25. Then they beat San Jose. They brought up their young goalie
Yeah, why
prospect,
not?
Wolf.
Yeah.
He was in net. I think it's David Wolf.
It's something that begins with a D and
Yeah.
then Wolf. I want to say Derek, but I don't. I think there was a football player named Derek Wolf.
I have no idea.
don't
You
know.
know how I get sports guys mixed
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
so
yeah.
don't worry about it.
So
Um,
D Wolf.
Nikita Zadorov. Hat trick.
What?
Scoring all 3 goals in that San
How many
Jose
goals
way.
does he have on this season? Is that
I
that
didn't look
5?
that up. I didn't
Is
look
that
that
5
up.
goals he has?
That's-
I'm gonna look that up right now.
His first career hat trick.
Is that double what he had on the season?
Defensive defenseman scoring the hat trick. Doesn't matter that that third goal was empty net. He deserves
Nah.
it. They also outshot them 49-24. You know the drill. 38. Here's this final stat line.
Mm-hmm.
38, 27, and 17. Think of some.
17.
Think of if half of those 17 overtime losses were wins, they're a playoff team.
Christ, if they won half of the 25 games that they outshot the opponents by 10, they'd be well in the playoffs.
Right. Like
Ah, yeah.
17 1-point game.
Oh, he had 14 goals this year. What the fuck? He had 14 goals this year? How? He had 14 goals and 7 assists.
That's crazy.
That's an insane stat line.
For him, yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's maybe. Hold on. I'm going to double check that somewhere else. I don't believe that.
93 points on the season. They're the first team out of the playoffs.
He had 14 goals this year. That's incredible.
5th in the division, 16th overall.
Yeah.
There's some teams that are in the playoffs.
Close, but they killed themselves.
Yep. There's some teams in the playoffs that were below Calgary points-wise. And they fired their GM,
Yes, they did.
Brad Trevelyan.
Tree living.
Tree living.
Is how you
Bad
say his
tree
name.
living. I keep adding an L.
I always get confused
I
by
added
his name too.
I add an
Yeah.
L every single time. But they're keeping Sutter.
For now,
Yeah.
till they get another GM who's like,
see.
no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe Sutter will be the GM again.
Maybe. I guess
worked-
that's possible.
It worked so great the
Yeah.
first time. Let's run
Yeah,
it.
right.
Let's
Let's
run it
run it
back.
back, baby.
All right, Edmonton is up. I just made any Calgary fan listening pee themselves in fear.
It's like, no. Please, God, no.
Their top player is Tyler Toffoli with in 82 games played, 34 goals, 39 assists with 73 points.
It's a pretty good year.
He's
Tyler
the top player.
Toffoli, yeah.
Edmonton 2-0 on the week.
That's about right.
They finished the season strong. They had like 50 some games in a row with a point.
It's crazy.
No, like
They look locked and loaded.
Ekholm was the juice, the missing
Yeah,
piece.
he was the missing whatever they needed.
The emergence of Stuart Skinner in net
Mm-hmm.
to pick up the pieces of the soup man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 50 wins, 23 losses, 9 overtime losses, 109 points, second in the division, sixth overall. A 2-1 overtime win against Colorado, like Bert mentioned, where Stuart Skinner saved 29 of 29. He ended up with a perfect save percentage with a goal scored against.
How?
Own goal.
Oh no.
Like, not even like a shot that bounced off
Somebody,
net
his own
in.
player, just shot it right on.
Dove to break up a defensive play. I forgot. Bjorkstrand dove, basically swatted it back towards the net, went off Bouchard's skate and in.
Oops.
I had to double check this because it was like 29 for 29. It's like there's a goal scored. There's a.
That's
What do
very
you mean
confusing.
29
yeah,
for
that's
29?
very confusing.
I went to multiple sites. Just like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Complete own goal was the one goal for.
Boy, that's a shame.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't get the shutout.
No, he doesn't get a
No.
shutout. But he was credited 29 for 29.
That's like a pitcher pitching a perfect game, but then like somehow they got an inside the park home run
No, I mean
on errors.
there have been. I think there might have been one recently where it was a no hitter, but they lost.
That's insane.
Because that can
It
happen.
technically can happen, but
It has.
yeah,
But yeah, 29 for 29.
I feel
In a-
bad for
in a
him.
2-1
I feel
win.
bad for him in that one. Yeah, in overtime too. So
2-1 overtime win. They won, so it's fine.
yeah, they won. Yeah, so it's
but-
probably all he really cares about. But
Jesus Christ.
I would be like, oh yeah, no, yeah, we could have won that in regulation,
Just broke.
guys.
It just broke my brain. It broke my brain. It's
It
like,
would have confused me
what
too.
do you
yeah.
mean? It's like, all right, ESPN's just being stupid. Let me get an NHL.
Well, that's why I had to check.
Yeah.
I had to check Nikita Zadorov's numbers too. I was like, that can't be right that he has 14 goals somehow.
It's like, wait, NHL's saying that too. All right, next up, quant hockey. What?
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Janmark had both goals, or not both goals, 2 goals in the San Jose 5-2 win. Their top player, we all know him. We all would love to have him, McDavid. 82 games played, 64 goals, 89 assists, 153. First guy to do it since first guy to do 150 points since Lemieux.
Mm-hmm. I don't see no ring
Yet.
yet.
We'll talk about playoffs when we get there. All right, LA 2-0 this week, 47, 25, and 10 on the season. That's 104 points. That's third in the division, 10th overall. Shutting out Vancouver to start the week. Korpisalo going 20 for 20.
He's played well for them since coming
He's
over.
played pretty good. They haven't always gotten the win with him in net, but he's played pretty well. And then they beat Anaheim 5-3. Korpisalo in net again. Kempe had a hat trick and an assist to end the season.
It's got to feel good.
It's got to feel good. He is not their top player, but he's up there. Anze Kopitar is their top player.
Old man Anze.
82
Games played.
28 goals, 46 assists, 74 points. This is like the first time in 15 years where he is not led in either goals or assists for the team.
That he's not?
Yeah.
Oh. He just led in overall points, though.
Yes, he is led in overall points, but Kempe had 41 goals on the season.
Gotcha.
Fiala had 49 assists.
Well, at this point, I mean, Anze Kopitar
is 35 years
yeah,
old.
He's like 35. Right? So, like, but it's still pretty impressive. I feel like nobody talks about Anze. Even when he was at his peak, I feel like nobody talked about Anze Kopitar.
No, because he played on the Kings.
Because he played on the Kings. They won 2 Stanley Cups and they still barely talked about him.
I know.
Ay, ay.
Because he also is just like a quiet, doesn't bring attention to himself
True.
type of dude.
That's also true. Yeah. He's a two-way player, too. So
Yeah.
He never really scored a ton.
But he
But
would always.
he would always play defensively well. He has a Selke, I think.
He still, again, led the team in either goals or assists
Yeah.
for 15 years.
Yeah, he's a great player.
he's getting a statue when he retires too.
Slovenia's finest.
Yep.
I think he's from Slovenia.
I want to say you're right.
Yeah, he's from one of those countries where not a ton of hockey players are from. I think it's Slovenia. Because I always get it confused with Slovakia.
Which I gotta think of which, because they basically have the same flag, but one has
It's very close. Yeah,
but one has a crest in the middle
yeah.
of it. And I
Slovenia, I believe, has the crest in the middle of
think
it.
Slovakia has the crest.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to look it up. Continue.
All right. San Jose's up next, 0-3 on the week. They were also who we thought they were. 22, 44, and 16. They did have 16 loser points.
That's a lot.
60 points overall, 7th in the division, 29th overall. Losing to Winnipeg to start the week, 2-6. Reimer in net. Erik Karlsson had 2 goals. He hit 100 points. First defenseman to do that in a long time. No, first defenseman to do that in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He is your favorite for the Norris with that season. Then they lost to Calgary.
I was right. It's Slovenia that has the crest.
My bad. Good call.
Now I have to look up the Slovakia flag.
Please.
Yeah, because I'm not actually. They do also have a crest.
But it's bigger?
It's bigger and different.
That's what was breaking me. Okay.
Yeah. So Slovenia has the smaller crest, while Slovakia has the bigger cross of some sort in it.
All right. Good to know.
So really, we were both right. So
high five. Woo! All right. Losing to Calgary 1-3. Already talked about that game. Kakkonen did play great because he saved 46 for 48 shots.
He did what he could.
Yep. So 1 goal was an empty net.
You could say that a lot about on players on terrible teams.
Yeah.
They did what they could.
I mean, yeah, he only let in 2 goals. That third goal was an empty net. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Edmonton 2-5. 3 for 6 on the penalty kill. It's not what you want.
No.
But we didn't expect them to be good. Their top player is Erik Karlsson.
It's got to be.
In 82 games played, 25 goals, 76 assists, 101. He is your front runner for the Norris.
Yeah.
And
even though he doesn't play defense, but
no, he doesn't.
Like almost at all.
He plays some defense. It's one of those things where if he was on a better team, his defensive numbers would be better.
They would be. Or they would at least be covered up by other things on the team.
Because you got to think of, who was his
I have no
line
idea.
mate?
Vlasic?
Sometimes,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know who his defensive line mate was. So, you're right. You're right.
He had some, it's like Hughes, when he had some AHLers as his line mate.
Yeah.
Hughes' best line mate was Myers.
Yeah.
No,
you're
right. Dermott.
You're right.
So
sorry, I'm yawning.
With people arguing against him getting the Norris, if UC Saros put up his numbers on Anaheim, he should far and away win the best.
Yeah, I know. You're right. 101 points on a very bad San Jose team.
Very bad San Jose.
And even from a defenseman.
Now,
that's pretty impressive.
Now, I don't disagree that maybe they should create a trophy for best offensive
I think
defenseman.
they should. I think they should have 2 separate trophies for defensemen, offensive and defensive.
I would agree with that. But with it is right now,
you're right.
I'm not against Karlsson getting the best now.
No.
Seattle's up next, 1-2 on the week, 46, 28, and 8 overall. They made 100 points in their second year of
Historic
existence.
season.
4th in the division, 12th overall. Started the week by beating Arizona, like you said, 4-1. Then they lost in a series to Vegas. They lost 1-4 and then 1-3. So that's not looking good going into the playoffs.
Oh, well, they have to play Colorado.
So we'll see what happens. Jared McCann is their top player. I'm so sorry.
Boy, all these former Penguins having pretty good years.
79 games played, 40 goals, 30 assists.
Oh, it hurts me.
Straight 70 points.
Hurts me.
Yep. a lot of their points are pretty spread out. Wasn't just one guy doing everything.
Yeah.
But McCann
40
comes
goals
out
is nothing
on top.
Is nothing
He's
to
their top
sniff
goal.
at.
He's by far and away their top goal scorer.
But could you imagine a team that had both Jared McCann and Brandon Tanev on top of Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and
With-
Jake Gensel
with
and,
Gustafsson in net.
and with Gustafsson maybe in net? Boy, that'd have been nice, huh?
Been a good team. What happened to that? Where would that?
Ron Hextall
Be a
happened to
possibility.
that, baby.
All right, cool.
Ronnie Hextall.
All right, Vancouver is up
Actually,
two
they might have traded Gustafsson before Ron Hextall, but I don't remember.
well, that was Benning just trading for trades.
That was Rutherford trading for trades. But yes,
sorry,
you were
yes,
correct. Yes,
yes.
but you were right.
I'm still thinking of Vancouver. About to talk about
Then the
Vancouver.
Zucker trade. Go ahead.
Vancouver
Vancouver. Yum.
2-1.
Hey. All right. There you go.
No, it's not the Zucker trade because even though he came from Minnesota,
I think it was Kalen Addison was in the
even though
trade.
Zucker came from Minnesota,
Gustafsson came
came
from
from
Ottawa. Oh God, was it the Brassard trade?
probably. 2-1 on the week, 38, 37, and 7. They were able to turn the beginning of the season around because in Vancouver tradition, they will crawl themselves to mediocrity
At the
away
very
from
end.
the bottom,
Yeah.
from bottom feeding.
From any really good draft picks.
I do like what Tocchet is doing. He did.
We'll see.
We'll
we
see.
liked what Boudreaux was doing at the end of the
We
year
will
last
see
year.
what. Yeah, we'll see if it continues into the beginning of
I
next
just
season.
want Buffalo and Vancouver to be good,
I know.
like consistently.
I know.
Just refuse.
83 points. Sixth in the division, 22nd overall. They could still do
They could still jump up.
They could still jump up. Getting shut out by the Kings to start the week. Then Demko got the win against Anaheim. He actually ended up being their top player with 33 for 35 with a 943 save percentage. They were 2 for 4 on that power play. And then they beat Arizona 5-4 in overtime. Delia was in net there. Connor Garland gets his first career hat trick against Arizona.
There you go.
They were 4 for 10 on the power play and then 8 for 9 on the penalty kill. So that's a good week.
It's pretty good.
Their top player is Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
80 games played, 39 goals, 63 points. That's 102 points. 63 assists.
Yeah,
It's
I
good
got
for 102 points.
Look at him.
Yeah, no, he played excellent. And he's one of the reasons he's one of the guys that cannot be touched.
We'll see. They say that, but we'll see. I would believe that. I would not trade him.
Unless he is refusing to sign a contract,
That's the thing.
then
That's the thing. Because
Then he can be
whenever
moved.
he's only got a year or two left on his contract, and at the end of it, he is an RFA.
right.
And so he could be like, nope,
I'll just not play.
pull a Matt Kachuk and be like, not here.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Nope. Vegas finished the week going 2-0. We talked about both of these games because they were both against Seattle. 4-1, 3-1. Bressois in net for both of these. He's actually starting for the playoffs tonight.
Yes, sir.
Vegas is 51-22-9. That's 111 points. First in the division. Fifth overall. Just like fifth. Third is wrong. Fifth overall.
I believe that was Toronto. That was third overall.
Amadio scored 2 goals and assists in the 4-1 win
Look at
against
him.
Seattle. Their top player is Jack Eichel.
Yay.
Yes. Fucking where?
Jack Eichel.
What am I doing in my life? There it
don't know.
is. All right. Jack Eichel is their top points getter. He played 67 games. He had 27 goals, 39 assists. That's good for 66 points.
Yeah.
And then Chandler Stevenson is their second guy. 81 games, 16 goals, 49 assists, 65 points. So that their
Honestly,
point scoring
You gotta
spread
give
out.
it to Vegas. Impressive season for how much they have been ripped up
They have-
injury-wise this year, too.
Their
They haven't had Mark Stone for a long period of time this
their
year.
injuries have not been as bad as last year.
No.
Especially
no,
who
yeah,
and
you're
how
right,
long.
You're right.
They
but
did deal with a lot of injuries, but
they were still pretty beat up,
Yeah,
But
so-
hey, they still won the division, made the playoffs.
They ran with
Number one seed in the West.
They had 5 goalies play at some point.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Brisbois is their starting.
it is
goalie
starting
going into
their
the playoffs.
going to the playoffs. Yep.
Well, let's finish things off.
News.
Oh,
I forgot to
Sorry,
say
go ahead.
Dallas Eakins is not coming back
Dallas
for.
Eakins was fired out of a cannon into the sun.
Unfortunately, it's not fired out of a cannon because his contract is up. So they're just like, no, you're not coming
Like,
back.
goodbye.
Yep. You gave us best chances for Bedard. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.
Thank you, Tank Commander.
Because
bye-bye now.
he is a hockey terrorist with Kruger.
Him and Kruger,
Him and-
hockey terrorists.
Or a hockey terrorist.
Uh,
Now I'm done.
okay, now you're done. All right. Let's finish things off with the Metropolitan Division, a division I despise with every ounce of my blood.
I hate all of the Eastern Conference. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I just hate the entire Eastern Conference. Carolina going 2-1 this week, so turn it around a little bit. They were on a bit of a skid,
yes.
losing to Ottawa to begin the week 3-2. Nate Chuss had 2 assists in this game, beating Detroit 4-1. Kotkaniemi had a goal and an assist, and then beating Florida 6-4.
Yep.
Burns had 2 goals.
Brett?
Brent.
Damn it.
I agreed with you, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Gostisbehere and Aho each had a goal and an assist, and Seth Jarvis had 2 assists.
Gotcha.
52, 21, and 9 to finish off the year. Tops of the Metropolitan Division. That is good for 113 points.
Yes.
Martin Necas is their top scorer for the year, top player. 28 goals, 43 assists.
Wow.
113 points, and your top scorer had 71 points.
Yeah, that's just spread out.
Now, it was mostly spread out scoring.
That's spread out.
And remember, Svechnikov got injured a few months ago at this point now.
A month and a half.
Month and a half ago. So he missed a big portion of time, but Sebastian Aho didn't,
Yeah, I know.
He didn't
had
score
a
a ton this year,
he had
but-
a down year.
We'll see. Carolina's still very solid team.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus is up next, going 1-1. They lost to Philadelphia in overtime, 4-3. They blew a 2-0 lead in that game.
Yeah, they did.
They beat Pittsburgh 3-2 in overtime. 0-2 on the, I think that was supposed to be penalty kill
Yeah,
in that
no.
game. Johnny Gaudreau had the overtime game winner, and then they lost to Buffalo 5-2.
Yep.
25, 48, and 9.
Oh,
Columbus, third to last, I believe.
Ugh.
59 points, same amount of points as Chicago. I'm just saying you could have lost to Pittsburgh. I'm just saying. Same thing. Johnny Gaudreau had an all right year, though. 21 goals, 53 assists. Nothing to be upset about on a very bad Columbus
His
team.
plus, if you look at his plus minus, not that plus minus is all that much, but his plus minus is like minus 25.
Sick.
It's atrocious.
Nice.
Yeah.
No. Now, that's not all on him, but
No.
that's really bad. Yeah, that's it for Columbus. New Jersey, 2-0 this week. 2-0. Beating Buffalo 6-2, as Clay already mentioned. Thomas Tater had 2 goals and an assist in that game. Well, I think it's Nate Bastian had 3 assists. While Miles Wood had a goal and an assist, and Nico Hischier had 2 assists. And then they beat Washington 5-4 in overtime.
Where they came back.
Yeah, they did. I was going to mention it with Washington.
Yeah, that's fair.
Howla had 2 goals. Jack Hughes had 2 assists, and Luke Hughes had the overtime game winner plus
That was
an assist.
so dirty.
And that was his first NHL goal and his first assist as well. His first points in general.
His first NHL goal to win the game was so dirty.
Yeah. And they finished 52, 22, and 8. That is 112 points, 1 point behind Carolina.
Well, yeah, no, they had to beat.
They did what they
Washington,
needed to do. They needed Carolina to lose
and they
the second
needed
game.
Florida to beat.
Yeah. And it
Carolina.
didn't happen, but still, very respectable record. Jack Hughes is their top player, 43 goals and 56 assists.
God dang.
99 points.
So close.
Breaking their single season record. Nico Hischier needs to be mentioned as well.
Yes,
31
he should.
goals, 49 assists, good for 80 points. 3 short-handed goals by Nico Hischier
Wow.
on the season. Yeah, and plus I didn't look at how many assists he had, but certainly a few shorthanded assists as well.
You know,
Specifically, I remember one against Pittsburgh. So.
you know, we'll have to look this up, but for Owen Tippett,
Yeah.
I think he has it. He might have around the same shorthanded goal
Really?
number. Yeah,
I did not write that down for. He's on Philadelphia.
I mean,
believe.
we'll look later.
Yeah, we'll look later. The Islanders are up next, going 1-1, losing to Washington, where they outshot Washington 40 to 25.
Yep.
But in a pretty shocking no-show by the Islanders in that game.
Yeah,
Really put their playoffs in
Jeopardy.
In jeopardy, but good old Pittsburgh Penguins put them right back in the playoffs. And then they beat Montreal 4-2. That sealed their fate into the playoffs.
Yep.
They outshot Montreal 35 to 19, as you already mentioned. Brock Nelson, hate you, had 2 goals in the game, while Noah Dobson had 2 assists.
You think Brock Nelson probably would be a bigger goal scorer if he wasn't on the Islanders?
Maybe.
You put-
and that's saying a lot.
You put him on like a high octane offense,
Yeah.
he might put
be
up 50
monster. Yeah.
50 goals.
That's saying a lot because he had 36 goals and 39 assists this season. So, and he played all 82 games.
Yeah.
Ilya Sorokin has to be mentioned as well, going 31, 22, and 7. He played 62 games this year. 234 goals against, 924 save percentage with 6 shutouts.
And their backup Varlamov is no slouch
No, he played.
either.
He played fine too. Sorokin probably very likely up for Vezina as well.
Yes.
He might be the one that could unseat Allmark from it. Allmark has the wins, but Sorokin played on a worse team and had really good numbers.
I think Sorokin and
Saros. Yeah, I think Vezina. I don't know who's going to win.
No,
I think it's between those 3.
and it should be between those 3.
Yeah.
If you add
add
Shesterkin-
someone else, Shesterkin didn't have a bad year.
No. If you add Shesterkin or Vasilevsky, it'd be stupid.
Yeah, then you're
Going off
kind of
name.
playing
You're
favoritism
just
by
going
name
off
at
name.
that point. Yeah. And if any of those 3 were going to get knocked off, I would assume it would be Saros, which is a disservice to Saros.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Rangers, kind of backing into the playoffs, going 0-1 this week. Losing to Buffalo in a shootout, 3-2, as Clay already mentioned. Panarin had both goals for the Rangers in
Yes,
that
he
game.
did.
And then they lost a close game to Toronto, 3-2. They finished off their season 47, 22, and 13. Very good record.
Yes.
Just, skidded a little bit the last couple of weeks. Panarin, 29 goals, 63 assists. Good for 92 points. Mika Zibanejad, 39 goals and 52 assists.
Because he's such a bad man.
Good for 91 points. Those are their 2 top players.
Yep.
Really good season. Shesterkin had good numbers too.
It just
but
wasn't last year.
nothing compared to God beater Shesterkin last
Yeah.
year. So Philadelphia finished off their season going 2-0 this week. Because why not?
Yeah.
Beating Columbus 4-3 in overtime.
All right, that's understandable.
Owen Tippett had 2 goals in that game, including the overtime game winner.
Mm-hmm.
Provorov, 2 assists. That's probably the first time I've mentioned him scoring-wise in a while.
Yep.
And then Philly beat Chicago 5-4 in overtime as well.
Philadelphia is better than both of those teams.
I would say so, even though Philadelphia is still pretty bad, but
Strictly,
they're
like coaching
better
alone.
than those 2. Yeah. Travis Konechny, 2 goals and 2 assists in that game versus Chicago. Owen Tippett, a goal and an assist. Morgan Frost, 2 assists, and then Provorov, the overtime game winner.
Wow.
To finish off the season. Look at him.
Look at him.
Travis Konechny is their top player.
Yeah.
31 goals, 30 assists. He only played 60 games.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So Travis Konechny is a great player.
Yeah.
And if Philly is looking to make a deal to get a bunch of draft capital, I would trade Travis Konechny because I would take him in a heartbeat.
If only he didn't play like a little bitch sometimes.
Well, he plays for Philly.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Pittsburgh
How many games did Pittsburgh need to win to make to the playoffs this year?
1. They needed to win one of these games.
How many games did they win?
None of them. And they played 2 of the 3 worst teams in the league. They lost to Chicago 5-2, and at that point, I was like, they do not deserve to win the playoffs now. 5-2. Jeff Petrie had 2 assists in that game.
Yep.
And then they lost to Columbus 3-2 in overtime. They were already eliminated.
Yeah.
By the time this game came out. Really, I guess technically they just needed to beat Chicago.
Yeah, that's it.
And they did not. Chris Letang had a goal and an assist in this game, while Crosby had 2 assists. 40, 31, and 11. Is Pittsburgh finishing under 500.
Yep.
They did not deserve to make the playoffs. I will not, mince words about that.
Yeah.
They did not deserve
No.
to go to the playoffs. And they blew a lead to Columbus in very much Pittsburgh this season fashion.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what hurts even worse? Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin played all 82 games this
Yeah,
year.
they did.
All 82. That is the first time they have done that since 2017.
Here's the thing. Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Gensel, and Rust were the only reasons you were in this contention.
I would swap out Rust for Raquel. Rust had an okay season, but he had kind of a down year for him. But Rickard Raquel played the top six plus Letang, not the problem.
No.
Oh, Jason Zucker too. You got to throw Jason.
yes,
Jason Zucker
okay.
had a great year.
Your top six. Your top six
Everybody in the top six had somewhere between 25 and 35 goals.
had a playoff caliber.
Top six, great. Rest of the top six plus Letang, great. Well, Letang, he's always been shaky defensively, but those 7 guys, great year. Everyone else, get off the team. You were all terrible. The bottom 6, horrible.
They were bad.
Now, I will say some of the younger guys played okay, like Drew O'Connor played okay.
Well, you can't fault the young guys.
You can't fault the young guys, but like especially Jeff Carter. Thank God we traded for Mikael Granlund so he could score 1 goal in 21 games. And like the defense and the goaltending, all bad.
Get to finish Washington, then you can talk about what news.
Okay. Well, Crosby, 33 goals, 60 assists, a great season for him. Malkin, 27 goals, 56 assists, a great season for him.
Yes, especially at both of their ages.
Yeah. So that's just painful. Washington.
This is the first time since Washington came into the league where Washington, Pittsburgh, or the Flyers were not in the playoffs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. Washington went 1-2 this week. They beat the Islanders 5-2 to begin the week. Is it Dylan Strome that you guys have?
Yes.
Dylan Strome had 2 goals, while Craig Smith and Tom Wilson had a goal and an assist each. Mm-hmm. And then lost to Buffalo 5-2.
You mean Boston?
Boston.
Yep.
Sorry, misread that. 5-2, where they were outshot 44-27.
Yeah.
And then they lost to New Jersey 5-4 in overtime, where they fittingly to end their year blew a 3-0 lead.
Yep.
And then also a 4-1 lead.
Hey, Sandine scored.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Hey, Alex Ovechkin, 42 goals, 33 assists. Great season for him.
He keeps that pace? 2 more years?
Come on.
Beats Gretzky.
Catch Gretzky.
That's all I want.
That's all anybody wants at this point. I think most people want him to beat Gretzky's record. I think all of us want to see a Gretzky record get
Even
get
Gretzky
knocked
is
off.
just like, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
He's like, do it. Please, God, somebody.
Yep.
Somebody score more points or goals than me. All right, let's get to news, because I have quite a few things. Chicago re-signed Jared Tenorti to a 1-year, $1.25 million extension. Pittsburgh fired Ron Hextall, the GM, Brian Burke, the president of hockey operations, and some guy named Proyer, who was the assistant GM.
Yeah.
They all deserve to be fired.
Bye.
I do like Brian Burke because he is the one that heads the hockey is for everyone thing.
Yeah,
he can still do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't think that him getting fired from Pittsburgh
Somewhere
means
else.
that he can't do that. Well, he could do it from, like, he was an analyst
yeah.
before he came back to Pittsburgh, so he can keep doing that. Really funny. A bunch of Pittsburgh talking heads were like, nobody knew what Brian Burke's job was. No one knew what he did. He was seemingly just there.
Yeah.
No one knew what his day-to-day work was. He apparently was just yelling in his box every game.
Awesome.
Sometimes at the players on the ice, sometimes at something.
Huh?
So, And Ron Hextall should not have another general manager job ever again. I was like hopeful, like, oh, okay, maybe he was hamstringed by other
some of the
Philly
rumors?
stuff. Like, what?
Did you hear some of the rumors?
Which rumors?
That door might be open in Philadelphia again?
Oh, I did hear that. I can't believe that that's true. I cannot believe that that's true. I was like, that would be such a foolish decision by them.
Well,
I did see that, and I was like, no way.
Clark is the problem.
No way. You're right. I was like, no way that they would bring Ron Hextall back because they also fired him.
Yeah.
So it'd be, oh man, I would laugh so hard if he went back to Philadelphia. Washington decided to, they put it nicely, part ways with their entire coaching staff.
Well,
Well,
Entire?
Laviolette, and I saw just before you got here, they also released two assistant coaches too. I don't remember who they were, but usually there's only a couple of assistant coaches. Clay is punching the air in happiness right now. So Washington said that they decided to mutually part ways. Now, I think Laviolette's contract was up anyway.
Laviolette's contract was up, and I think I saw that Laviolette was just like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
He came to them and was just like,
You're
yeah,
like,
I'm set.
Well, technically, his contract was over, I think, June 30th.
Yeah.
And then both the team and he agreed. It was like, we could just say it's done.
Yeah.
So and then him and a couple of coaches. So Washington will have probably a fully new coaching staff next year. St. Louis also fired their assistant coaches, not their head coach, but
Nope,
their
I saw
assistant
that,
coaches. Cam Atkinson, who did not play at all this year for Philadelphia because of neck injury,
Yep.
hopes to return next year.
Yeah, of course.
So hopefully in full health. TJ Oshie had a minor surgery on his back that he said was bothering him for the entire year. And good news for Pittsburgh fans, Jeff Carter says he intends to play for Pittsburgh next year.
Awesome.
Yay. Yay. Carl Hagelin also hopes to return to the ice next year after his horrible eye injury.
And hip.
And hip injury.
Eye and hip.
So I hope so. I like Carl Hagelin. So
Yeah,
I hope he can return to playing next year. He's getting up there in age too.
His contract's up too, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see if somebody signs him, but I don't know. Nashville re-signed Michael McCarron to a 1-year, $775K deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a little bit of playoff news. Nikolai Ehlers may miss Game 1.
I thought I said it was back.
They did.
Oh, okay.
And then he is back on the injury list with a day-to-day injury. So it's not definite. He might play Game 1. He might not. Also might play Game 1, might not, is John Klingberg for Minnesota. And then Romanov for the Islanders is going to miss Game 1.
So jumping off of that playoff news, Michael Stone is back for Vegas. He's officially been activated. And then also Bergeron and Allmark are a game time decision for both.
There's like a
for Boston because
crazy
there is a
bug going
illness
Boston
going
right now,
around Boston. Swayman missed some time earlier. He was able to
he
practice,
did practice today. Though,
but here's the thing: I won't put too much on the illness. Now illnesses could ruin a series.
Oh sure,
Very much. Could absolutely ruin a series, and it'll be very easy to
make an excuse.
Make
if
an
that
excuse
happens,
of that.
Yeah.
But if anyone has ever any sort of athlete, any sort of performer, doesn't matter what level, you do know that performance health is 100% a thing. Where game time comes, concert comes, doesn't matter. Your adrenaline kicks in, and you're able to push that.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Bad feeling aside.
We'll see if those guys can get back for Game 1.
Look at Jordan Game 5.
Oh yeah, he played with the flu.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the flu game. So we'll see if the illness is not that bad, where performance health
Hopefully
can
it's not.
take
Hopefully it's not.
Performance health can push it away. Patton Oswalt, the comedian, does do a bit where performance health has failed him on the stage, where someone called him a slur, and then he proceeded to shit his pants.
God.
So check out Patton Oswalt.
I do love Patton Oswalt. I do love Patton Oswalt. But let's get to our predictions so we can go and watch the playoffs.
Yes.
And we're going to start, speaking of Boston, Florida. Clay, what do you got?
I have Boston in 6.
Boston in 6.
It's not going to be a sweep just because Florida is Boston and Florida are in the same division.
Right.
Boston-
I'm also feeling Boston in 6.
Boston is 100% going to be the favorite in this round.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Boston's going to be the favorite moving forward until they're beaten. So, if they get beaten.
It depends on how some other series go. Florida actually split the series, the 4-game series with Boston during the regular season.
Oh,
They split it.
okay.
So this team knows how to beat Boston. And
We'll see if that translates.
this looks like it could be fireworks when you look at the teams themselves. In Boston, you have Marchand, you have Trent Frederick, you have
Olmark is playing for Boston. Bergeron is not.
gotcha. You have Brad Marchand, you have Trent Frederick, and you have Garnet Hathaway on the Boston side being pests, and
That they are.
Frederick and Hathaway will stand up to make sure Marchand doesn't. And on the other side, in Florida, you have Matt Tkachuk.
Yep.
And Anton Lundell is known to have a smooth brain from time to time and do something really dirty and stupid. And Sam Bennett.
Yeah, and Sam Bennett's in there too.
You have those.
There's a they have that guy Lomberg too, don't they?
I was thinking
Yeah.
of I was thinking of Lomberg,
Not
Lundell.
Lundell. Yeah.
I was thinking
No,
of
Lomberg definitely has a smooth brain.
Yes, Lomberg has the smooth brain. That's my fault, Lundell.
Yeah.
You're not a koala.
He's not. Not a koala. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Toronto, Tampa Bay. What you feeling? I'm feeling this is 7 games, no matter what. That's what I'm thinking.
Toronto in 6.
You think Toronto in 6?
The way Toronto's playing and the way Tampa backslid. Tampa backslid into this playoffs. This is Toronto's to lose. I understand you can meme Toronto losing the first
I'm not
round.
even memeing. I just think Tampa Bay, just all of their experience. I think this is minimum 7 games. I think.
I
don't know who
I
is
think
gonna win.
Toronto learned from last year and is going to punch Tampa in the mouth from start to finish. They're not going to give them a chance to breathe. And I think Vasilevsky becomes playoff Vasilevsky and steals a couple of games. I think that's why this is going to 6.
You've convinced me. I think Toronto in 7. And I will say, if Toronto does end up winning this series, I think they beat Boston.
That's
I
it.
think they'll
That's
have it.
it.
I think they'll have the energy.
That's what I think. If Toronto wins this series, they're a threat for the cup.
I think they
straight up.
I think they might straight up win the cup because they'll be like, we finally won.
Oh my God, they'll.
But then they'll face Boston, and be like, we have another demon to face,
Yeah.
but that will vanquish that demon.
Yeah. So
Or they'll face Florida somehow.
like. Don't get me wrong. If Tampa Bay beats Toronto, I won't be surprised
No, yeah.
because Tampa Bay is Tampa
Well, I
Bay.
won't be surprised in any of these
Yeah.
series, really. but
Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay.
Maybe
'cause,
Colorado, Seattle.
Yeah. So
Yeah. All right, let's continue on in the East.
that's my thing.
Carolina Islanders.
Islanders in 7.
Islanders in 7.
Carolina, how their play has worried me. Svechnikov, losing
Yep.
Svechnikov is been a problem for them. And the Islanders can throw the body around. And I don't necessarily know if Carolina can deal with that.
I hate to agree with you yet again, but I'm actually gonna say the Islanders in 6.
Wow,
I'm feeling the
okay.
Islanders. I just have a gut feeling. I think the Islanders are gonna beat Carolina. Yeah, kill that blanket. Yeah. I just have a
That's my
gut
thing.
feeling. I just have a gut feeling the Islanders are going to beat Carolina. Mostly because I really hate the Islanders.
I hate the
I feel like
Islanders.
they're going to have more success just because I hate them.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right.
They said they got Barzell back.
They do. Yeah.
That's not good for Carolina.
No, it is not. Devils, Rangers.
As much as I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers in 7.
Okay.
I think this goes the distance. I think this is one of the times where experience matters.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers went to the conference finals last year. They brought in winners of Tarasenko and Kane.
Yep.
So they know the team already knows what to do, and they bring in guys that know how to win the cup. I think the kids in the Devils will be a little shell shocked at the beginning, and I think that just might be enough edge for the Rangers.
Clay, let me tell you, my gut feeling, the Devils are going to smoke the Rangers.
Really?
And they're going to knock them out in 5 games.
Really?
I just have a gut feeling that the Rangers are going to shock the Devils are going to shock the Rangers.
Well, here's the thing: the Devils are favorites going into this.
I get that. But
I
I
just
just have this feeling that the Devils are just going to overwhelm them.
I think there's a lot to be said about young, dumb confidence, which the Devils are full of.
I think they could get that one series where this is a rivalry series. I just have this feeling that they're going to just ram right through the Rangers.
Yes, this is a rivalry series. But both of these cores are very young.
Not very
Not
young
very
for the Rangers.
Not very young.
Very young.
I'm
younger.
I'm thinking Fox, Hedel, Kakko, Miller.
Is that their? I would say Panarin and Zibanejad and Fox are their core.
That is fair.
Yeah.
They're young core. I think those guys. I think the young guys that I said will stay there when Zibanejad and Panarin move on.
But I don't think.
What makes me excited about this series
I think it's going to be a fun series.
is not this series specifically. Is future series, because this will start to build the fucking hate
Against Pittsburgh. You're right.
This will start to build the hate between these two teams.
Yeah.
And make these playoff series in the future so fiery.
And the regular season, too.
Oh, yeah. I got nothing. I love this matchup.
There's going to be some vitriol.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you want to talk about smooth brain. Jake Trouba's on the Rangers.
Yes, he is. And that chicken wing will dangle.
That chicken wing's going to be dangling.
Yeah, the fans hate each other. That's fine. It doesn't matter. But when the players hate each other.
That's even better, baby.
Oh, baby.
That's even better. Let's move on. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's move on to the West, Colorado and Seattle.
Colorado in 5, and I'm being nice to Seattle.
Yeah, I don't. I would like to be wrong because I like an underdog, but I kind of agree with you. Colorado is on fire to end the year.
Colorado's on fire, and
I'll even say the same amount of games. I don't think this is going to be much of a
I'm
series,
being
really.
nice to Seattle because the reason why is this math I was doing where I messed up.
Yeah.
The last 33 games of Seattle's season. So this is a good chunk. It's almost 50%.
Yeah.
They were 17, 13, and 3. It's not bad. It's not great. Then if you look at playoff teams that they played, they only played 15 playoff teams during that 33-game span, where they went 2-11-2.
Oof, that is bad. Yeah, that's bad. You know what? I'm amending it.
You're saying it's sweep?
I think Colorado's going to sweep. Colorado's been on fire.
I think Seattle gets a game.
I don't know.
I hope it's a home game that my brother ends up being at, but
I hope so too. But I kind of feel it. I don't have a lot of confidence in Seattle.
I'm not feeling good about
All right,
Seattle.
let's
They
move
should
on.
be happy to be there.
Dallas, Minnesota. This is a tough one.
Next.
You don't even want to say.
I don't know this one.
I think Dallas is going to win.
I think Dallas.
I'm going to say Dallas in 6.
I'm gonna say in 7.
Dallas in 7. Okay.
I do think it goes to 7. I do think the Gustafsson Fleury goalie tandem will be enough to steal a game or two.
Steal a game, a couple of games.
But the problem is,
Minnesota's just like.
Minnesota's defense isn't as good as Dallas's defense,
No.
and their offense isn't as good as Dallas's offense.
Yeah.
So that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
If Dallas ends up shutting down Boldy and Kaprizov, that's over.
It's over. Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
over. Yeah. And I don't even know if Joel Eriksson Ek is playing this series.
No.
I don't think he's back yet from his injury that he got a couple weeks ago.
I'm not sure.
I know that he was progressing faster than they thought, but he's not back yet.
Gotcha.
Vegas, Winnipeg.
You know what's really surprising on this is
What?
it's a 50-50 shot. Like, predictions are 50-50 to
absolutely.
Winnipeg over
Sure.
Vegas.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't feel that at all. I'm feeling Vegas in 5.
It's 51-49, like,
I don't feel that at all.
predictions.
Yeah. No, I understand the predictions, but I don't feel that.
I don't.
I feel Vegas is going to win in 5. I don't think Winnipeg has it. I could be wrong. Connor Hellebuck could show up, steal more games than I think he's going to, but I just don't think that they have enough
I think
to push past Vegas.
Vegas in 7. I think this does go the distance.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't care. But like,
I don't care if I'm wrong either.
if this goes the distance and Winnipeg wins, it's still the distance. So like,
Yeah.
Anything can happen at Game 7.
All right, let's talk about the big one. A rematch of the first round last year, Edmonton and LA. This year, I really do think Edmonton has this.
It's crazy
Locked.
because
Locked and loaded.
both teams are better than they were last year.
I agree, but Edmonton is like way better than they were last year.
Right. Edmonton's way better than they were last year, and like
I'm gonna say Edmonton in 6. That's what I'm feeling.
I think it goes to 7, and I'll take Edmonton again.
Okay. I mean, LA was really close to knocking them out last year.
What it comes down to is their special teams,
Right.
because apparently they're both about 75% special teams wise or penalty kill wise. So we'll see.
Well, that's not very good.
We'll see if they're able to hold off McDavid. Dano can take out McDavid, or like
Sure, yeah.
Dano-
Or Kopitar.
or Kopitar
Yeah.
can take out, or like
I would say
The other
forward. I would say I have more confidence in LA's defense. I would think, but
Velarde's playing too.
can they stop McDavid and Draisaitl and
Right.
Nugent Hopkins? You know, like,
And-
maybe they can, maybe
and
they cannot. You
Their
know?
goalies aren't good; they're competent, which is
You can say the same thing about Edmonton's too. I know Stewart had a good. I know Skinner had a good year. Stuart Skinner is his
yeah,
name.
yeah. Skinner.
I know he had a good year,
I
but
could
like
say they're the same.
I would say that they're on equal footing goalie wise.
Skinner's better than Copley, but I would say he's the same as Corpusalo.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So, just going off of that, tied goalies. LA, I think, has a better defense all around.
But that offense,
Edmonton just has an overwhelming offense. So we'll see. I feel confident saying Edmonton's going to win the series this year.
I would not be surprised if Edmonton and Colorado end up together again.
Could be.
Um,
Could be. I don't think it would be a sweep this year.
No, would
For
not.
Colorado,
I do
but-
not either.
I might still lean towards Colorado.
I think
but
I might lean toward depending on how they go through and who they go through. It might
injuries
be
and stuff,
Edmonton.
yeah.
It might be Edmonton.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But that's the exciting part because tonight begins the playoffs, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you guys, I guess, next week.
Yes,
And we'll talk about no series will be over by then, but
we'll talk about stuff.
we'll talk about what's going on. But you can catch us wherever podcasts are found. I'm so excited for the playoffs to start, and I don't have to really care.
I have chills. It's great.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And we hope you guys join us. Give us a rate, review, subscribe wherever applicable. Tell your friends, tell your family, because the playoffs just started,
Yeah,
baby.
they did, baby.
We'll see you next week at the same puck time.
Same puck players.
Bye-bye.
Bye.